going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Jericho Report Weekly News Briefing. It is Monday, the 20th of April, 2020. Once again, sorry for the late report. Just couldn't get with it yesterday after doing my video on Saturday. I had to take a break. Information overload. But I got a lot of news to give you. We're going to go through this rapidly because I don't want to keep you for too long. As always, the first link below will take you over to the Patreon post. That's where you can find all this information. You do not need a Patreon account. You can click the link. It'll come up just like it did on Blogspot. Let's take a look at the numbers at this hour. 2 million confirmed cases of COVID-19 worldwide. 165,000 deaths. In the United States, 759,000 cases. 40,000 dead. You know, the more you look at these numbers and how they don't match up to the rest of the world, and the more you hear stories about how people have all of a sudden stopped having heart attacks and, you know, people are being counted even though they were never diagnosed, you really get to see through all the bullshit of this, don't you? Not to say something's not going on, but we're definitely not being told the truth about any of it. I'll put a link to the official numbers. Let's get into the news. NYC adds nearly 4,000 people who never tested positive for coronavirus to the death tolls. Maybe they had a heart attack. Maybe they had, any number of other problems. There's videos coming out all over the place now of doctors and nurses talking about how people are being pronounced dead without being diagnosed with anything. And the numbers of people dying from heart attacks have gone down and this and that. So, we're being lied to about all of it. Pandemic could affect food supplies, power grids. Telecommunications says government document this out of Canada. We got Newsweek. Meatpacking giant closes in South Dakota. Plant indefinitely after 300 employees test positive for COVID-19. So maybe there's going to be some interruption in the food supply now. Zero Hedge puts this out. Navy hospital ship off LA battling serious COVID-19 outbreak among crew. I thought these ships were only going to host people who were already hospitalized with things other than COVID-19. Now these ships have broken out with COVID-19. I don't know. Fox News puts this out. U.S. and Canada have funded Chinese lab eyed as likely source of coronavirus outbreak. So no matter whether you think this is an inside job, this was all planned by Bill Gates and the cabal, or whether you believe the official story, the fact is, it looks like the United States actually funded all this in the beginning. I'll put a link to this. I can't guarantee physical vote in November will be safe, says Fauci, who's really in charge. Trump retweets call to fire Fauci amid coronavirus criticism, yet he hasn't been fired. I'll put a link to that. Democrats say Trump's halt to World Health Organization funding breaks some spending laws that brought about his impeachment, so we got impeachment 2.0 to look forward to if we happen to get through any of this mess. And it doesn't matter because he says the authority is total. Trump says he can force governments to reopen the country, or governors, I should have said. Respect his authority. It is total. Over to financial news. How major U.S. stock indexes fared last week. Looks like on Friday the Dow Jones rose 704. For the week, the Dow gained 523, so the Dow's on its way back up. We'll see how this week goes. Put a link to the market recap data. 5.2 million people filed initial unemployment claims last week, bringing 4-week total to 22 million. 22 million people in 4 weeks have filed for unemployment. IntelliHub puts this out. $1,200 stimulus check just in advance on your taxes. Proof is in the bill. Check out this article from IntelliHub. Raw Story puts this out. Beyond predatory. Be advised if you owe the bank money. Trump Treasury Department gives banks green light to seize $1,200 stimulus checks to pay off debts, never mind buy food. NBC News puts this out. The narcissism of our president never ceases to amaze. Trump wants his name to appear on coronavirus relief checks. Is that a campaign thing or what? Or is it just like everything else, he's got to put his name on it? New York Post puts this out. 43,000 U.S. millionaires will get stimulus averaging over 1.6 million each. April 16, 2020. What up with that? Zero Hedge puts this out. U.S. Mint halts all production over virus fears as gold and silver coin demand nears record highs. Or are they halting because everyone's going underground? Definitely some strange stuff going on here. RT puts this out. Trump halts World Health Organization funding, accuses health body of conspiring with China to cover up COVID-19 outbreak. Definitely interesting. We'll keep an eye on that. But it doesn't matter because Bill Gates ups his pandemic funds to $250 million, says Trump. World Health Organization move makes no sense. Put a link to that from Reuters. And we got one more far worse to come. COVID-19 collapse of state and local governments. That's the one thing that I bet a lot of people aren't thinking about right now. The economic fallout from this is going to be so catastrophic. I always thought it was going to be a multiple city nuclear detonation that would push the reset, but governments, small governments and cities and municipalities are done. There's no way out of this in the end. Your speculation in the comments. Over to New World Order Police State News. Meet the world's most powerful doctor. This is actually an article from 2017 about how Bill Gates wants to play doctor to the world. I'll put just an interesting read because you got this SGT report puts out. Bill Gates and the World Bank helped build global ID structure before the pandemic. Yes, this was all planned. Maybe they'll get their way, maybe they won't. I'm betting they will. Biometrics could help identify those with antibodies and needing vaccines as coronavirus lockdowns lift. Yes, biometrics for everyone on the planet, most likely. You'll see bodies in the streets of Africa, warns Melinda Gates, says vaccine ultimate solution to COVID-19. So not only Bill Gates, but his vampire wife is involved as well. Como offers up New York as coronavirus vaccine laboratory. Oh, that's so nice of him. That from the New York Post. Doctors threatened with $13,000 fine for prescribing the drug that I can't pronounce as coronavirus treatment, the one that Trump's pushing all over the media. Why would that be? Daily Mail puts this out. Revealed U.S. government gave $3.7 million grant to Wuhan lab at center of coronavirus leak security that was performing experiments on bats in caves where the disease is believed to have originated. Link on the funding goes into detail if you want to read that. UN chief targets dangerous epidemic misinformation on coronavirus. Yes, you have to remember years ago the United States handed over control of the internet to ICANN and IANA and all that stuff. Monograph talked about that back in the day. Remember all that? Yeah. So don't be surprised if you see some very heavy censorship and websites just disappearing across the globe. It can definitely happen. The UN's calling for it. Drinking alcohol can make the coronavirus worse, says World Health Organization, and recommending restricting access. Yes, no more alcohol. You can't have that. That's bad for you. And one more. Democrats introduce massive gun control legislation during coronavirus. Just one thing to keep in mind. All this stuff going on in the background. Just keep that in mind. Looks like there's been a mass shooting up in Canada. What are Canada's gun control laws like? Over to World War III news. China may be secretly testing low-grade nuclear weapons against the United States, I believe this is from the New York Post. Somebody sent me that on Facebook, I think. China continues South China Sea military action despite COVID-19. We got that stuff still going on. Bill to strip China of sovereign immunity would allow private lawsuits over COVID-19. Very interesting to see where that goes from Zero Edge. And Hong Kong flag tanker seized by Iran in Gulf of Oman this week, April 14. Put a link to that. Not sure what's going on there. Russia conducted anti-satellite missile tests, says U.S. Space Command. Or are they shooting things at asteroids to try to knock them off their trajectory? That's just my speculation. Russian jet flies within 25 feet of U.S. spy plane. Unsafe high-speed maneuver. Navy says that on April 16 from CBS News. Israel said to hit Hezbollah vehicle carrying arms in Syria near Lebanon border. That April 15. We got RT puts this out. North Korea fires more projectiles. Suspected short-range cruise missiles into the sea. Lil Kim still can't get it up. He's so ronery over there. And look at this interesting development with all that's going on, all the talk of comets and asteroids. The U.S. Air Force abruptly ends its continuous bomber presence on Guam after 16 years. Don't you find that interesting? Like maybe there's something catastrophic about to happen and they're putting everything away? I got one more in the World War III bin. How disease and medical experts across the U.S. were sounding alarm about coronavirus in January, ridiculing Trump to show response in Red Dawn email chain. Red Dawn. I thought that was interesting. Over to Earth changes in 2012 news. We have had some big quakes this week. On the 19th, we had a 6.4 off the coast of Japan. We had another 6.6 on the 18th off the coast of Japan. On the 16th, we had a 6.3 out of somewhere, Honduras. And we had a 6.1 in New Zealand. I'm not sure if this shows the new one. Actually, yeah, that's the 19th. We had several 6 points in Japan. So far that I know, no tsunami alerts. I think I got another link on that. Quake hits off the islands of Tokyo. No tsunami. I'll put a link to this from ABC News. They got the recap data on that. And we still have earthquakes around Yellowstone. 4.2 magnitude aftershock after the 5.7 that hit there a week or two ago. I'll put a link to this from local media. Alabama family without enough face masks denied entry into storm shelter during tornado outbreak this past week. That's kind of messed up, isn't it? So let them die in the tornado. I think there's another severe outbreak going on right now. 2020 likely to be the deadliest year for tornadoes in 8 years. That's great on top of everything else. Pile it on. Forget Comet Atlas as said to be breaking up. We got a new comet is approaching Earth's orbit. Another one coming in. Pieces of stuff flying through the atmosphere. Check this out. Sunset and green flash off the coast of San Diego. things flying through the atmosphere, maybe possibly, impacting the ocean at some points. I don't know. I'll put a link to it. Interesting stuff going on. Newfound asteroid the size of a house flies by the Earth this past Wednesday. Now, it is the size of a house, but, the graphic, it almost, I mean, if it were falling if it were to fall into our atmosphere, if I get my tongue untied, it would probably burn up. But, I mean, you could just see it breaks the ecliptic almost perfectly past the Earth. I'm just saying, things are flying by the planet. Maybe they're big, maybe they're small. Look for stories in the next couple of weeks of, potential impact stuff, craters and crap, strange explosions, stuff like that. Let's get on with it. Asteroid warning. An asteroid tracks a 4-kilometer asteroid. Could end civilization if it hits. So this is, of course, at 1998 OR2. That's the one that's coming in on the 27th or 29th, I believe. Now, the story goes on to talk about it's most likely not going to hit the Earth. However, there are several things that could knock it off its orbit and smash it directly into the Earth. So definitely a story. When you look at everything that's going on right now, it only makes sense that they're prepared for something big and that COVID-19 is just a convenient cover story that they created. Look at this. Do you remember the beginning of the movie 2012? What were they doing? They were putting artifacts and precious things and high-dollar stuff, artwork and stuff underground. This story came out this week. Church of England sent millions of valuables to the Tower of London over coronavirus looting fears. Watch the beginning of the movie 2012. Just saying, I am probably wrong, but holy shit, would it make sense, people? Would everything make sense right now? Over to strange and bizarre news. Coronavirus-stricken Chris Cuomo trashes CNN gig during radio show meltdown. I guess he's not happy with doing his job, lying to the public. Oh, Fredo, give me a break. Your brother, Governor Cuomo, recommends taping sides of your face and face mask to your entire head. What? Strange and bizarre, I'm telling you, people. We got Roger Stone says Bill Gates may have created coronavirus to microchip people. You think? That coming from Roger Stone? That's very interesting. We got Francis Boyle was right. It is time for Trump to arrest, prosecute, and execute all those engaged in death science industry. All of these people that still think these arrests are coming, there's actually people who think that the COVID-19 was covered to start removing all the pedophiles and all. You people who believe all these arrests are going to happen, where's Hillary Clinton right now? I want to believe too, but let me clue you in. It's not going to happen. The more stories I see about it, just becomes more strange and bizarre that people still believe it. Dr. Fucci, though, endorses Tinder hookups if you're willing to take the risk. Well, just, make sure you wear a mask. DailyMail.com puts this out. Indiana man checked his bank account for $1,700 stimulus check, and he found that he had $8 million was deposited. Well, use it on your Tinder date. Right on. NYPD cop suspended after profane rant was caught on video. Apparently, you see this cop on the police car megaphone telling somebody that to suck it, and he's going to come over there and slap the shit out of him and all that. You got to check out the video. It's pretty bizarre. And out in California, it looks like police activity overnight. High driver crashes into house 3 times with 2 different vehicles. How in the hell does that happen? Strange news out of California. LA Sheriff released 4,276 inmates. Maybe it's one of them. Now fears a crime wave. You think? Yeah, well, it happened down in Florida. Look, Florida inmate freed over coronavirus concern linked to one murder 1 day after his release. For all other news, please check my favorite videos. I have favorited so much stuff this week. I mean, there's so much stuff over here. We got We Are Change. They're fed up with the One World event. Oh, yeah, the World Health Organization One World event. Did you hear about that? Armed protesters now in Michigan. We got protests out in San Diego. We got military tanks rolling through Los Angeles on trains. We got this great video here. I think that's coming up in my shout-outs. This person here, I don't know, they sent me this video in my comments. They apparently cannot get an abscessed tooth taken care of because nobody wants to operate because of the coronavirus stuff. Check that video out. Definitely feel for that woman. I hope things work out. You got to, elective surgeries and even, more critical type stuff being put on hold in a lot of places. So you got that whole aspect, all that fallout. No new normal. Check that video. I mean, check my favorites. Definitely ton of great stuff over there. Thank you to everybody who continues to put out content outstanding work all around. In shoutouts this week, I got Ticked Off Vic, a message to the government. Do not watch this video if you do not like bad language, because this is all bad language. But if you want to see somebody scream and rant and tell the truth, definitely check that video out. Language advisory. Shout out to the Next News Network. They did an interview with a doctor. I've only gotten 13 minutes into it, but already I'm recommending it because definitely, you know, he's exposing, Dr. Fauci exposes fake pandemic numbers, economy. Definitely some information here you need to hear. I have not finished with it myself, but I am definitely going to do that once I get this video up. People, we're being lied to at every turn on this thing. I mean, no doubt something's going on, but it's not what they're telling us it is. And this week there's supposed to be a lot more protests, so you may see this country erupt this week. Be advised, people are pissed and in the streets. That's all I got for this report, guys. If you like these reports, please consider supporting me on Patreon, because this channel is now fully demonetized by YouTube because they say my content is dangerous to viewers. You can also send me direct support with PayPal. I definitely appreciate any support. And you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, the YouTube community feed to get links from me through the week, because I don't always have time to make videos. Although I haven't been tweeting out a lot of stuff the past week, I'm going to try to get back to doing that this week, because there's a lot going on. Please tell me your thoughts on all this. Please rate this video, pass it around, make people aware of the news. You know, I'm up here at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Monday morning because I had to get this report out. I'm tongue-tied, I'm sleepy, I got to get this out to you guys, though, because there's so much going on. You know, you guys take care, stay safe, remain vigilant, be ready for anything. I will see you on the next one.